The Seminole Indian Casinos present the Fountain Superboat Grand Prix, stop number 3 in beautiful Key West. Millions of tourists come to visit here each year. The start-finish line is at the Truman Annex Naval Base. French Navy is here to witness this fast and furious race. Hello, everybody. I'm Jim Hendrick, along with Stan Lane. This is the third stop in the Superboat International Racing Series for the biggest and fastest race boats in the world. Now, Stan, unlike the first two events, where they had long chutes, a north end turn, a south end turn, the navigators actually only counted laps. But today here in Key West, with rough water, they're going to have to negotiate and navigate.
You mentioned rough water. One word that is synonymous with Key West is unpredictable. And speaking of the weather, just outside our mobile studios here, 15 minutes ago, it was pouring down rain. Well, now the sun's out, so we don't know what's going to happen there. Now, sea conditions 2 to 3 feet, except at the place they call the wall. That's turn number 1. It's very, very dangerous there, very, very treacherous. The water's like a washing machine. It's going to be great. High-flying action, SBI style. So if you're ready, buckle in. We're going to throttle it up.
Various classes will participate in the Superboat class. Here are your top 4 competitors led by Coca-Cola Racing.
And Planet Man, he's been hot all year long. Super V class, Popeye, of course, leading the way. He is V1.
In the stock class, you will see we'll have the Deep V Catamaran, Barracuda, MFW Racing, Poradon, and Bodyguard.
As we move on down to production A class, of course, A6 Extreme Stainless Marine doing a great job this year, but he's got some competition.
In the manufacturers classes, Manufacturer 1, Intimidator, will represent that group here today. And in Class 2, it'll be Parts Unlimited Marine and Mikasuki Gaming.
Looking good. There's that Planet Man boat, Jim, and we're on board now, on camera now. Tim Chasuli, driver of Planet Man, state-of-the-art boat, and he is leading in points in the Superboat so far in the new millennium.
We're aboard now, Key West, Sunset Ale. We're about to get started. Look at the clouds. Ooh.
Like we said, Jim, the weather in Key West, totally unpredictable.
Here's our stern camera on board the Popeye Fountain. John Tomlinson is on the throttles.
And now we jump on board a brand new boat, the Rio Roses. Of course, Raul Boycel drives Indy cars on the side, and he finished 16th at the 2000 Indy 500. Jim caught up with him a little earlier.
In Indy 500 racing, which Raul does, the track never changes. He sets a groove, but out here on the water, course is different every lap, and there are different safety measures that are taken. I understand yesterday you took a dunk test.
Yes, I'm very glad that I did, because it's a very good experience. So you know what you expected if something go wrong, and you're underwater, and you really need to pay attention and be calm to accomplish what you know, the safety crew teach you. What they tell you to do is very comforting in a way that you be safe to get out of the boat and what you expected. So I think it's very good in a safety issue.
A very good safety measure, and our team's, of course, safety conscious. We are now coming out of the harbor and beginning to start this race, Dan.
Well, they'll fall behind the pace boat. They'll pick up speed. They'll start to monitor their gauges. They'll watch that green flag on the pace boat. When the yellow flag goes down, the green flag comes up. Brother, we will go racing.
They're picking up.
We have a green flag, Jim.
Look at that sight coming out of the harbor now to start one lap around. They'll go out into open seas. I guess checkpoint 1 will be very rough out there.
Oh, it certainly is. They call that the wall. We talked about it a little bit earlier. They have to be very, very aware in that area because we've had a lot of mishaps there over the years, and these boats are closely bunched up now as we speak. So we got some real good racing. They may be trading fiberglass before it's all over.
Great view. Popeye Fountain in 5th place. Dominic Visconti, John Tomlinson, the team on board.
They were 1999 national and world SBI champions. They want to maintain that number 1 on the side of their boat. As we head into turn 1 at the wall now, you see the discombobulated water right there. And my gosh, what a slingshot turn there. Great turn for Planet Man.
Tim Chasuli and his team doing a fine job on the outside on that turn.
Headed down to turn 1 now. They get this boat trimmed out. You see a little bit of bumping action, a little bit of wave action there, but so far a pretty good ride for this 46-foot cat.
Tim Chasuli is an old hand at this racing. He came back, and of course, John Cabanel here, good buddies. He came back to support SBI, and he's doing it in fine style.
Boy, he certainly is that. He bought a state-of-the-art, expensive boat, but it's paying off so far right now.
And it's state-of-the-art, Stan, no doubt about it. The leaders as we complete lap number 1, 8 Planet Man, 11 Hydrogen Media, the V8 Rio Roses, V76 Fountain Mercury, and the V1 Popeyes Fountain. We'll be back with more action from Key West after this timeout.
It's a feat that's never been accomplished in offshore racing history. 6 V-bottom world championships in one season. And as you've seen, Team Fountain is even more dominating this year. Fountain's World Championship racing technology is incorporated into every sport boat we build. At Fountain Powerboats, when we race, you win.
The excitement they can possibly hold right now, but the boats are not catching that much air because, as we said, the course for Key West is pretty darn smooth.
Good racing right out here. Coming out of the Gulf of Mexico, heading out toward the ocean side of beautiful Key West, the Fountain Mercury, number 11.
On board now, our stern cam going off the transom of the Popeye Fountain boat. You see just to the inside there, Rio Rosa's Popeye just made the pass on Rio Rosa's. This is a great battle in Super V.
And Rio Rosa's getting a rough ride coming off the wake of this boat, the Popeye Fountain.
Lots of close traffic now. That boat on your left there, another Fountain boat, very, very fast. That's the Fountain Mercury boat.
Now they're coming into smoother waters in the harbor and coming right by our main spectator area.
We're seeing speeds right now upwards of 128 miles per hour on the GPS. Very impressive. Oh, what a great bird's eye view all those fans have. We have thousands and thousands of fans lining the outer mole, and also all the restaurants and the hotels, the bars. They're all filled to capacity. They love SBI racing.
Inside the Key West Sunset Ale, now currently in 6th place.
You hear that high-pitched whine. This is the only boat in the whole fleet that has 2 superchargers on each big block engine.
They're coming into the harbor where the main part of our spectator fleet gets a real good view of these racers.
This boat right here, the Coca-Cola boat, is the only boat in the fleet with 4 big block engines. This boat can scream.
Earlier, the guys from Coca-Cola took Chief Max of the Seminole Indian tribe of Florida out for a spin on the water to hit speeds of over 160 miles an hour. He's the fastest Indian alive.
Well, you got that right. What a smile he had on his face when he got it. It was just plastered on there.
He really had a good time.
I've always liked speed. I mean, I've ridden motorcycles, airplanes. I've never been on anything fast as this on water. So I see why they call it super. They are super boats. It's a fun sport. It's a sport that everybody can enjoy and see. It's something I think everybody wants to go in. It's an experience. We went to the max.
Yeah, Chief Max went to the max, and we're back to racing. Here is Coca-Cola currently in 7th place, Stan.
Well, they're not going quite a 165 now in these race conditions, but this boat is going very, very well. We're just about ready to get started with their second start. There you see them right there, the smaller boats. We have a green flag start. It's a clean start now. This is stock manufacturer's boats. These boats don't go quite as fast as those super boats, but they're smaller. They get a lot of wave action.
And they really have to be careful because they're a lot trickier, a lot skimpier, especially in that first turn where the water is rough.
Leading the way is the Mikasuki boat with the Fountain boat right on his stern. We're on board now, that Mikasuki gaming boat. You see the throttle man on the far right there, working those throttles back and forth, cutting the gas, cutting the throttles when they leave the water.
Standing up in the pulpit, Planet Man and Hydrogen Media Fountain battling for first place. Look at this, Dan. Now on the outside is the Fountain boat. He took the outside last time. Planet Man and Mike Siebel, who is, of course, a pretty good tunnelboat driver and is a national champion in that boat, is in this one.
Oh, my, the Popeye Fountain boat down in the water. They haven't come to a complete stop yet. They got the hatches raised. Maybe they can make repairs on the course. I certainly hope so.
Well, they were currently riding in 3rd before they ran into problems. The V76 now coming in on the V8 in the class of V-boats.
Super V, a big pass being made now by this boat. V76, the Fountain Mercury. On board, of course, Joe Scrow and Peter Meyer. Well, they're showing some tremendous speed and great acceleration, Jim, past that Rio Rosa's boat.
Pleasant water for Key West, which is usually rough. We'll be back with more after this timeout. Little piece of heaven down in Key West, especially in Mallory Square. There are all sorts of people that come each day to watch the festivities and get a glimpse of the most fantastic sunset in North America.
How you doing? How you doing?
The Superboat battle continues as Reggie Fountain is first place, but look at the Planet Man coming on strong, almost side by side, coming into the harbor stand.
They're duking it out, trading blows back and forth, and lead changes as well. These boats are so evenly matched in speed, it's going to boil down to driver and throttle man and how well they can negotiate these turns.
If you can survive, you can win. Tim Shashuli, the driver of Planet Man. Russ Houston, the throttle man, and we're riding right with them.
They're getting a very, very smooth ride now, just off to their right, off to their starboard. You see the nose of that hydrogen media fountain, and once again, the fountain noses them out as they head into the square.
Headed into that tight turn here, stand in front of the fans. Watch out, it could be a little tricky.
They'll have to trim those drives in. They'll bring the trim tabs in. They'll scrub off some speed. You see the Planet Man swinging it a little bit wide there. We're on board him now. He's going outside the wake. You want to stay in that clean water. You don't want to get into that aerated white water there. He's making the turn wide. Did a very good job there as well. But Reggie Fountain and Mike Seabold did an even better job because they cut the inside lane. And speaking of Reggie and Mike, Jim caught up with them a little bit earlier. They had some interesting comments to make.
A warhorse never stops wanting to run. And Reggie Fountain is one of those warhorses. Now, why are you back in the cockpit?
Well, the guys that normally run in this, Hugh Fuller and Jerry Gilbert, are occupied today, so they said maybe I should take it out since it's our boat, and I thought that was a good idea, so I'm going to go out with it, and I wanted to find me the best in the world I could get to drive for me, so I got Michael Seabold, world-famous tunnel boat driver. I used to run with his dad many, many years ago in those tunnel boats, and I feel like I got the right guy on the wheel with Michael in the boat with me.
You're excited to race this boat today?
Oh, absolutely. I'm honored to be with Reggie, and I'm glad he invited me to run with him. And I mean, Reggie's one that's dedicated all of his time to setup and testing, and I know this boat's going to be safe and fast, and it's going to be fast enough to win.
Well, fast it certainly is. This boat holds the world speed record, 165.5 miles per hour. That is just phenomenal for these big, heavy 46-foot racing cats.
Inside the cockpit of Rio Roses. You can see the driver on the right, throttle man on the left, as they come into the harbor in smoother water. They're coming into the harbor. A battle for third overall, but first in class.
Nose to nose, deck to deck, and the Fountain Mercury makes the turn there.
Look at the water. Oh, he's getting some rough water off the stern of the boat right in front of him. He's getting washed down, in fact.
That's exactly right. He's getting doused, and that is not good. These boats don't like that salt water going down the intake.
Fountain Mercury, Peter Meyer, Joe Stroh, and that's a beautiful looking boat.
Beautiful indeed. You see the staggered engine configuration there. We're on board now, Rio Roses. Let's see what's going on here.
I think they've taken out some water because they are really out of this race.
They were trying to restart. Apparently, they cannot do so. That's a shame because we had a great battle going on. Here you see V21. This is Firewater, an older hull, but a very, very consistent hull.
And where they are right now is second place in Super V and 7th place overall.
This boat's a lot heavier than most of these state-of-the-art boats, but we've always said, Jim, you have to finish the race to win.
On board the Miccosukee Indian Gaming, they are the leader in class. Look at them look back, see where the competition is. Bouncing around.
You see the navigator, he's the guy in the center there. He's holding on for dear life with both hands. And look at this great turn the Fountain boat is negotiating, cutting the inside. And, of course, as you know, Jim, and all of our fans who follow SBI, the shortest way around the race course is always the fastest.
Always on the buoy line, and they're now coming out of the harbor and going out to open sea once again.
Well, the waters will definitely roughen up here. Now, these boats are 38 feet in length. Now, this little boat here is only 30 feet in length. A6, Extreme Stainless Marine. He has been the class of the field all year long in A.
They've got it all together. That team has really worked in the offseason, and the proof of the performance is the way it's running here.
This little A-boat is keeping up and perhaps even passing some of these stock boats that have twin engines. Of course, the A-boat is a single-engine boat.
Coming into the harbor, look at some of those boats launch.
S12, the boat that's nearest us right now, Deep V Catamarans, Lee Austin, the driver and throttle man, and he also builds this boat. Of course, his navigator, Patricia Parton. This boat is a brand new hull this year. It's a little bit longer, and it's much more competitive. Ooh, the bat boat. I like this little boat here.
It's a cute boat. And they run in line. The driver in the front, the throttle man looking over his shoulder in the rear cockpit.
That was the shortest boat in the fleet, 28 feet. This boat here is 32 feet. You see the double steps on the bottom. That aerates the bottom, creates less friction, less drag, which means more top-end speed.
Third in production class. And here is MFW Racing, the S45.
This boat, of course, in stock class, they do not have those safety canopies on there, so should the boat nose in, they'll have to duck their heads down.
Here's Pour It On, your brother and sister team out of Nassau, and of course we'll be racing in their hometown.
Now we're headed towards turn 1. They call it the wall, but today it's not a very big wall. It's a small wall because the water is way down for Key West.
Yes, unusually good water. Looking at our leaderboard, lots more action to go from Key West, Florida. We'll be right back. Welcome back to beautiful Key West. I'm Jim Hendrick along with Stan Lane. We're looking at our leader, the Hydrogen Media Fountain. It's a number 11 boat.
Well, Reggie Fountain doing a great job. You know, you call him an old war horse, but I tell you what, this guy's in great shape. He jogs all the time. He maintains his condition. He's doing a great job in this boat that he built today so far in this race.
Miccosukee Indian Gaming and the F-215 Parts Unlimited Marine battling it out as they come into the harbor.
Well, Miccosukee extending their lead, stretching it out somewhat. These boats have the exact same power, the exact same drive propulsion system, so it boils down to hull design and, of course, driver and throttle man.
Here's the Miccosukee Indian Gaming looking at the crew as they come into the harbor.
Listen, that engine whining, Jim. Sounds good. A big block motor is just like music to my ears. Ooh, they have to fight the wheel. My gosh, they just spun out, Jim.
Boy, just that quick it can happen. You're fighting for the lead or you're leading and boom, you're out of the race.
Well, they're trying to get this thing restarted. I don't know if they'll be able to. You know, we've talked many times about these step-bottom boats. They are about 5 to 7 miles per hour faster, but in the turns, they're slippery. You have to be very, very aware of that. You got to pull those drives in, and apparently that boat just skipped out and just spun on them.
Parts Unlimited Marine, the new F2 leader on a Fountain boat.
Now, these guys used to stand up in this boat. Now they are seated, which is much more comfortable. And also they have these little mini wind deflectors there, so they're getting a much better ride. And plus, they picked up 0.8 of a second in testing when they sat down.
Intimidator, the F1-3. Another good-looking boat, and they're also sitting down and going for a pretty good ride.
And a great view from our helicopter cam as they zoom in and follow these boats. These helicopters sometimes cannot even keep up with the super boats that run 165+ miles per hour.
Second in production A, the Line Shark Bat Boat A21.
Straight from Gotham City in the Bat Cave, the little bat boat. It's got those wings on it, flies through the air.
Extreme Stainless Marine leader in production A. Earlier today, Stan had a chance to talk to Rick Termel of that team.
Your boat is always on the cutting edge of innovation thanks to you. And this boat is the only boat in the field that has a jack plate for your stern drive. Tell us about that.
Well, what it helps do in rough water, we can lower the jack plate to put the drive deeper in water to control better in rough water. And as we head into the harbor, sometimes it gets real smooth in there, and we're able to pick it up another 2.5 inches to really pick up top speed.
It takes preparation. It takes homework. They've completed both of those courses, and they are showing it today in fine fashion.
Well, Tim Chasuli has been in fine fashion all year long. The new millennium, he's done a great job, and I know he's looking to repeat.
We won New Jersey, so we're real happy about that, and that was another rough water race. And hey, we're here in Key West, the greatest place on earth for offshore racing, so we're looking to have a repeat.
The Planet Man passes the Hydrogen Media Fountain in that battle for first place overall and the first in class, and the battle continues.
One of the closest races all year long, or in recent memory for that matter, in superboat class. You know, sometimes these boats just run away with it, but this is extremely close.
We're on board the Planet Man, the current leader, but now looking on the right, there is Hydrogen Media Fountain taking the lead again.
Now, historically, so far in the race, it's been the Planet Man who's been swinging wide, but this time you see Planet Man taking the inside lane and doing a good job of it.
A fine job and a good turn here, a very tight turn in the harbor. Now going out to open sea once again and towards checkpoint 1. And a big lead now for Planet Man.
Here comes the only aluminum boat in the entire field, Key West Sunset Ale. We talked about it earlier. They've got dual supercharger setups. This boat is a lot heavier than the fiberglass boat, so he needs that extra power to remain competitive.
He's currently in 4th place and aboard with James Shade, the driver, and Ken Silverman, the throttle man, the Key West Sunset Ale. They're trying to catch Coca-Cola here for 3rd place.
That may be hard to do because this boat has 4 1,400 horsepower engines. And this boat, once that fuel burns off, Jim, this boat is extremely fast.
Yes, as the fuel burns off, the boat gets lighter. They can plane it differently. They can skim the water, less friction, and more speed.
But this boat is a big boat. It's 50 feet in length. The Coca-Cola boat, the largest boat in the field. It's really set up for rougher water. We're back on board Key West Sunset Ale. Let's watch them negotiate this course. Or then again, let's watch them have a problem, perhaps. I'm hearing those engines quieten down, Jim. That's not good.
Hydrogen Media Fountain chasing the Planet Man, and he's closed the gap somewhat. There was a bigger leader. Look at him close. They're coming on side by side once again.
Well, it seems like every time they go between turn 1 and turn number 2, this Fountain Mercury, the Hydrogen Media Fountain Mercury, just has that extra top-end speed. They must have put some bigger props on.
Inside is the Planet Man coming up to challenge the Hydromedian Fountain boat for the lead. We'll be back. This is a great race. Come back to Key West. I'm Jim Hendrick along with Stan Lane, in the battle between the Hydrogen Media Fountain and the Planet Man continues here on very good waters.
That it certainly does, but the Coca-Cola boat is burning off that fuel, and it's getting lighter and lighter, and it does have the power to give these two boats fits if they can just catch up a little bit. But right now, as you said, it's back and forth all day long with these two super boats.
What a great race inside the cockpit of Planet Man. Now we're going to that tight turn again.
Headed into the harbor now. The people on the right just packed there, getting a great view. These boats actually come within like 30 feet of the outer mold. It's just great, great racing, up close and totally personal. Planet Man pulling those drives in, pulling back on the throttles now, negotiating that turn. These beautiful emerald green waters here in Key West, one of the greatest race sites in the world. There's no denying that. And these are the biggest, fastest race boats in the world.
And the Planet Man on the inside takes the advantage in the turn and gets a lead, but then the Hydrogen Media Fountain catches him in the straightaways, looking at the Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola boat is very, very fast in the straightaways. He has a little bit of problems in the turns, too, because this boat, as we said, is longer and heavier, and he has a lot of weight to push around. Speaking of the Coca-Cola, Jim was in their pits earlier.
Dan Campbell, veteran throttle man, driving the Coca-Cola boat here. Brand new hull last year, I understand, Dan, and your second event this year.
Yes, we're ready to go. It's another Jaguar 50-footer, and we're ready to have a great season in it.
How much power do you put in a 50-footer?
1150 times 4, so it's be 4,600 horsepower.
So you, as a throttle man, have to kind of organize all that power.
Yeah, and you adjust everything, ailerons, the complete systems and everything.
So the throttle man really is busy.
Pretty busy in a 4-engine boat.
Well, Jim, he mentioned 1150 horsepower. That's actually to the water. Those engines are rated at the crankshaft at 1,400 horsepower.
Good spectators all along this part of the Key West course. Into the harbor comes the second in Super V class, Firewater.
Deep V hull, the old style 24-degree dead rise. Very, very reliable hull, but it is heavy.
Looks like they're going for a pretty good ride. Open cockpit. The guys are standing. They have a throttle man, the man that handles the wheel, the man that counts the laps and handles the navigation. That's the complete crew.
I would describe that boat as a big, heavy Cadillac compared to this boat, like a lightweight sports car.
And it's just as pretty as a sports car, and it is just as fast, and especially here on the water. Earlier, Stan Lane was in the fountain camp and had a chance to look at the team and talk to Reggie Fountain.
You know, so many people, Reggie Fountain, think that all you got to do to make a boat go fast is just to put big power in it. But there's so many more variables to that. No one knows that better than you, and also the Fountain race team. It's a matter of center of gravity. It's a matter of power to weight, and it's a matter of ballast. Tell us about that.
Well, the ballast is another word for balance. You've got to balance the boat. And when you're running over really rough waves, they tend to want to have the boat take up off the water. Then you have to run your drives in and your tabs down. If you run them down too much, then the boat bow steers. That means that you dive into a wave and it steers where you don't want it to go. It does it on its own. So what you really want to do is to keep adding weight in the front till you balance the boat. So when it takes off, it sails across the top, and you can run more of a parallel trim on your drives and your tabs. Then you don't have to over trim the drives in and the tabs down, causing it to bow steer.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, Stan. Joe Stroh and Peter Meyer have done a great job of balancing that boat today, and the performance proves it.
Well, with the help of Reggie Fountain, what Reggie did was he put sandbags, added weight to the front of that boat, the bow area. Now it's riding perfectly.
Another boat running pretty good. Planet Man, first place. We're on board with Russ Houston and Tom Chasuli.
Caught a little bit of air there. You saw they just kind of hung in midair there, a state of suspension, and then they came back down and crashed in the waves. But they are losing the lead once again to the Hydrogen Media Fountain.
What a battle seesaw. This lead has changed at least 20 times since the green flag dropped.
The water conditions have actually improved here between turns 1 and turns number 2. The waves aren't quite that bad. That does mean higher speed. And it seems like, as you said earlier, Jim, on the straightaways, the Fountain Mercury, the Hydrogen Media boat, does have the higher top speed.
And, of course, high speed usually brings attrition. In this case, Stan, there has been very low attrition because of those water conditions you mentioned.
It certainly has, but the more they stretch these engines, the more that attrition could rear its ugly head at any moment.
Looking at our leaderboard, that's the way they stand. More action to come from Key West. We'll be back.
Back, everybody. I'm Stan Lane alongside Jim Hendrick, and we welcome you to the granddaddy of offshore. I'm talking about Key West, Florida. What a great race we have for you. It's been back and forth all day long. Let's go down and check out the stock class, because these boats, Jim, are so evenly matched.
Alfella, Jeff Dindo, leading in the S69 Bodyguard in the stock class.
This boat has proven over the years to be a very, very quick hull. It's a cut-down deck as opposed to this hull. Also a 30-footer in stock class, but you see it's a lot taller, which creates a little more wind resistance and drag.
And they have that, of course, semi-canopy. They have opening above their helmets, but they have a deflector screen in front of them. Barry Cuda, the S18, second place in stock.
Well, those F-16 safety canopies add about 400 pounds to the boat, and of course speed is a product of power to weight ratio, but you have to factor in the safety factor, and that more than makes up for it, in my opinion.
The S45 MFW, my father's wallet, the racing team, third place in stock.
Thanks for the bucks, Dad. Guess this guy got an advance on his allowance.
They're riding pretty good, sitting down. Driver and throttle man teaming up here on the ocean off of Key West, Florida.
This is the only stock class that has outboard power. The EPA, Environmental Protection Agency, is really taking a close look at these outboards because they're 2-cycle engines, and they do create a little bit more pollution than the 4-cycle big block V8 motors, but they're still hanging in there. They make a very unique sound, a high whining pitch.
Oregon, fourth place in stock. Twin outboards, rolling right along.
They are actually pouring it on, Jim, and this is the Bahamian entry, of course. Haven't gotten their graphics put on yet, but check out this boat right now. This is your leader in the Manufacturers 2 class. A couple of good old boys from my home state of North Carolina. I'm pretty proud of these guys. And they're, of course, in a North Carolina boat. That's the Fountain boat built down in Washington, North Carolina by Mr. Reggie Fountain, twin-step hull. These guys are seated down. This boat is extremely fast and doing good in these conditions today, Jim.
Yes, they are. They're sitting down, going for a Sunday drive, have the sensation of speed with the wind in their face. And earlier today, we talked to David Knight about this race.
Key West is the greatest venue in offshore racing. You got every water condition. It's a real throttle man's race, from smooth water up to 8-foot cornering seas. We're going to need to put it all together to win today.
Riding very well in class, the F215. Remember, as we said, there are various classes racing within their own group on this same body of water at the same time, which is SBI style. And here is your #1 top-of-the-line superboat, faster, heavier, and it's the Hydrogen Media Fountain, Mike Siebel, the driver, and Reggie Fountain, the veteran, on the gas sticks.
Well, Reggie and Mike have certainly melded well together as a team. They've proved that today. They are extending their lead, but we jump on board now. The second place overall, Tim Chasuli, Russ Houston. They're trying to close the gap, Jim, but it seems to me now the Hydrogen Media Fountain is extending their lead.
Don't count this team out. Anything can happen in offshore racing. on the beach, and here comes your leader to thrill him as he comes down close to the shore.
I love it when the sun comes out, the blue waters of people getting those tans and these boats screaming by at upwards of 162 miles per hour as we speak on the GPS.
Look at that hull. Two hulls held together by a wing. The canopy protects the crew, and they literally fly across the water. Air underneath the two hull, the twin hulls underneath that wing helps to keep them light. Planet Man, your second place, hot pursuit. 11 seconds is the difference between the leader and this boat, the number 2 one.
And just a couple of laps ago, Jim, it was only a 2-second differential, so Hydrogen Media Fountain, as we thought, is extending their lead.
The number 11 boat, Hydrogen Media Fountain, with an 11-second lead. That's a pretty big lead at this point in the race, Stan.
That's got to make Reggie Fountain very, very happy. He builds these boats, he rigs them, he puts the power in there, and he comes out and even races them, and that's very impressive. This boat, speaking of impressive, this boat has so much potential. He just hasn't got it perfectly dialed in yet, but I tell you what, the power is there. He'll be in the winner's circle one day.
Third place. And a solid third place at that for Joe Vasquez and Dan Campbell in the Coca-Cola number 3 boat.
We've talked about before in SBI racing the attrition factor. 40% of these boats do not finish, and you have to keep the boat together. They're under constant load all the way around the course. See now Key West Sunset Ale, the aluminum boat, doing very well so far. They had a little bit of some problems earlier, but so far they're keeping it together.
Out of the cockpit, a hand signal. Inside the cockpit, you can see they're giving the signal to slow down. That means the boats in back of them, be careful. We're coming off the gas sticks.
Yeah, they're coming off plane, Jim. They definitely got a problem. The question is, will they be able to fix it, make repairs on the race course? Will they have to call it a day?
Well, if they do, they're just going to slow down and pull over. When you and I call it a day, Stan, we head for a party.
Yes, we do.
And we have good times down here in Key West. Went to a couple of parties while we were here. Friday night down at the Truman Annex. Saturday night on Duval Street.
Yeah, baby.
Oh, I love these parties. Get down, boogie. More racing when we come back at beautiful Key West. So please stay tuned.
Did you say boogie?
I said boogie. Superboat Grand Prix. And the Fountain Hydrogen Media leading the field, the number 11 boat. But coming up fast from number 2 is the Planet Man, number 8.
Well, you know what's on their mind. They have to close the gap, and as the race winds down, Jim, they don't have that many laps to do it, so they're going to have to get very, very busy inside that cockpit.
Reggie Fountain on the throttles, and young Mr. Mike Seabold, whose daddy Billy I know very well, and Mike is a great tunnel racer. They're coming into the harbor now, still leading in smoother water.
You see the water coming off right behind that number 11. That is water ballast. That was the balance of the boat we talked about earlier. He's bleeding off water to lighten the boat up.
Joseph Vasquez in Coca-Cola Racing, along with Dan Campbell, the owner and throttle man, in third place, also coming into the harbor.
It's been a valiant effort all day long for Coca-Cola. They've got 4 engines that they can keep them in sync and get that thing dialed in. I know they have the power, but so far they haven't been able to close the gap down.
Joe Stroh and Peter Meyer, they have the power in the V76 Fountain Mercury, 4th place overall, but first in the Super V class.
Well, this boat is the shortest boat, the lightest boat in this class, Super V, and in this kind of water conditions, these smooth conditions, this boat has the speed. If we had big water, the longer hulls would have the advantage.
Speaking, Stan, of longer, bigger, and heavier, here is the V21. The driver is Bob Oliver, the throttle man Herb Stotler. The boat is called Firewater, navigated by Richard Wyatt. And these boys have had a good ride here today, and they like this type of water.
The rougher the better for us, being a heavier boat. We need the wind, and we need some rougher seas. We're going to be very cautious in the beginning until the boat lightens up and catch more speed toward the end of the race.
It's certainly a beautiful boat, a 41-foot deep V boat. It's been around a long time. This boat has a lot of winds on this hull, but it just is not the state-of-the-art boat that the rest of them are. But, oh my goodness, The Fountain Mercury is down in the water as we speak. They are out of the race. What a shame. So you know what? Hey, consistency pays off, Jim, sometimes. The old tortoise and hare syndrome, if you will. If Firewater can hang on, brother, they've got a checkered flag.
Would you believe that? Would you? They always said you never know in offshore racing. If you can finish, you can win.
Will this boat finish in first place? That yet remains to be seen, but so far it looks like nothing can stop the Hydrogen Media Fountain, and Reggie Fountain doing a superb job all day long.
Tim Chazuli, the driver of Planet Man, Russ Houston, the throttle man, still giving chase. You can see he's not that far behind.
And you can see those tachometers, those dual tachometers on the left of the screen just a while back. They were just about redline. They are trying their best to close it down, and they are doing so as we speak.
And they're coming into that harbor where the turn is tight, and the Planet Man, the last couple of times, have had the advantage to take a better turn. Let's watch.
This turn could be crucial right here, but he's got too much speed. He had to swing on the outside. He's trying to cut it now. Hope he doesn't spin out. Oh, Jim, he did cut it. He turned that big 46-foot cat inside the fountain. Will he make up the time? As the fountain does, he going to slingshot and keep his RPMs up enough to hold off Chazuli? Will he do it? No, Chasuli's going to take him on the outside.
Look at the acceleration of the Planet Man. He's now taking the lead after he was behind 11 seconds. He is your new leader. What an exciting race.
Well, we could not have scripted this race to be any more exciting. I mean, you couldn't plan it to be any more. Speaking of Planet Man, we are on board him one more time as he is our new leader, and we are getting close to the finish.
He's passing some of the lower class boats off to his left, and that checker flag is waiting. And I'll tell you what, Hydrogen Media Fountain is not going to give up. Mike Siebel, Reggie Fountain, they're right in there battling all the way.
He would want to be inside that cockpit right now because Reggie is not a happy camper. He does not like seeing anybody's stern, anybody's transom in any kind of race.
The Planet Man, first place. And just behind him is the Hydrogen Media Fountain boat. The checkered flag is waiting. They're in the big turn. It's going to be a real exciting finish. Coca-Cola is starting to slow down. Joe Vasquez, Campbell is getting off the throttles. They're slowing down. They're currently in third. They may be out of this race.
Boy, Jim, they are definitely coming on plane. Their race is done. It's a shame for Dan Campbell, but we are certainly not done. Plenty more race action to go right here from Key West, Florida. So don't you dare make a move. We'll be right back.
Winners as we conclude the Fountain Superboat Grand Prix here in Key West, Florida. I'm Jim Hendrick along with Stan Lane. And Stan, look at the battle in the Superboats, and this is for also overall position.
Certainly is, and this battle has raged on all day long. The checkered flags are waiting now. Still, Planet Man can hold on, but just barely over the Hydrogen Media Fountain as they head into this very tight turn here inside the harbor.
Tim Chazuli is a wily veteran. He's returned to the wars, but he remembers from where he was before as he now makes a big arc. Look at it. He maintains his arc, doesn't give a big swinging wide arc for the inside boat, which is the Hydrogen Media, and look at the way that boat is handled.
And now they're headed back towards turn one. You can hear the whining of those blowers. Those supercharger belts are going so fast. Now let's jump back to stock class. And speaking of jumping, the boat that's coming up is Pour It On, and they are doing so, pouring it on. And they're overtaking Barracuda that appears, Jim, to be having a little bit of a problem. Oh, yeah, they got to be having a problem because these boats are so evenly matched in power. There would not be that much discrepancy between it. And Pour It On now has taken over third place, and that leaves Barracuda, Bermuda Barracuda, in fourth, and they are definitely struggling. Must be having an engine problem back there. Those two outboard engines that usually put out about 285 horsepower apiece. And now here's your second place in stock class. MFW, my father's wallet, holding on tenaciously to second place. And if they can catch first place, the bodyguard boat, then my father's wallet will be even fatter because they'll take home that big first place check. This boat, a non-canopy boat. You can hear how those outboards have that unique sound. They rev up to about 9,000 RPMs. And now here is your leader in stock. It is the bodyguard boat. These guys hail from New York City. And I just want to say do-I-diddy New York City because these guys got to be smiling, Jim. They're doing a great job in the bodyguard boat today. But can they hang on? We'll find out shortly.
Here is the Bat Boat. It's the Line Shark Bat Boat 821. Isn't that a weird-looking boat? But yet it is kind of Well, I guess unique.
It is extremely unique. It's designed over in Sweden. They are second, the Bat Boat. This boat, Extreme Stainless Marine, with Rick Terminal on board. There you see Rick down there in the bottom. They are in first place and have been almost the entire year. But you can see, Jim, their hatch on top of the boat has sprung loose. I don't think that's going to be an aerodynamic problem. It's back down now, but it is not secured. You see it flopping a little bit there as they chine walk a little bit.
Inside, the Planet Man currently leading, and the checkered flags are waiting as they come down the shoreline. This is Tim Chasuli. He is at the wheel. He's returned to Superboat Racing.
And they're getting a smooth ride. Planet Man is going to be your winner here in Key West. Oh, yeah, what a way to come back and start a brand new year after being gone 13 years. Welcome back, Mr. Tim Chasuli.
It's the Superman, the Planet Man in the Superboat.
Great job. He's heading in now. He'll garner his checkered flag. And this is your second place boat, the Hydrogen Media Fountain. Great job, Mr. Reggie Fountain, on board one more time. And they just couldn't quite catch the Planet Man on that last lap.
Firewater, the winner in the Super V class, going steady, and they have won this race.
Yeah, the other boats just did not make it because of attrition. Captain Scott Scooter Johnson, commanding officer of the Naval Air Station here in Key West, is back this year.
Today is absolutely beautiful down here at Naval Air Station Key West. Always a pleasure having the Superboat races down here. And I think today the weather was perfect and the race was superb.
All right, and you have a visitor, I understand.
We do, in fact. It's a French ship out here, the de Grasse. Came in for a couple days, just tied up this morning. Beautiful French frigate sitting out here, and the crew is loving it.
Winners are ready. We'll be back in just a moment. Speed Vision coverage of the Fountain Key West Grand Prix was brought to you by Fountain Powerboats, because there is a difference. By the Florida Keys in Key West, come as you are. And by the Seminole Indian Casinos, catch the excitement.
Well, thousands and thousands of people caught the excitement they saw SBI as only we can bring it to you here on Speed Vision. Here you see the results from Superboat class. Planet Man in first, Hydrogen Media Fountain in second, Coca-Cola Racing in third, and Key West Sunset Ale brings up fourth place.
Well, we were just out there spinning and grinning and doing 150 miles an hour. It was a beautiful day.
Russ, now, you were riding in second place for a long time. Was that a plan?
Yes, it was. We were just hanging. We wanted to see how the water was, see what the competition was going to do. We just held back, and then we made our move.
He got in front of us, and we knew that we were going to have to catch him. We were going to have a lot of speed through the turns. So on lap number 9, we came into the harbor in second place, and we left the harbor in first place. We did a move on the inside. The boat was entering the turn at about 110, and it was going as fast sideways as it was forward. We were right on the edge, and it was exciting.
Planet Man! That graphic courtesy of Mr. Ricky with Vapor Trail.
In Super V, it's Firewater, Fountain Mercury, Rio Rosas, and the Popeye Fountain.
We went out there, we kept plugging away, and as we saw some of the faster boats break, we just backed her down and just stayed in it.
And your stock class results. S69 Bodyguard takes first place. MFW Racing in second. Port on in third. Let's hear from the Bodyguard crew.
Boat ran flawless today. We got it back late last night. We had it re-rigged this year. And the boat, we were just hoping to get the boat started and just keep the pace. And long and behold, attrition kept everybody going. And here we are.
In the Production A results today, Extreme Stainless Marine, Line Shark Bat Boat, and the Rapido Auto finished third.
We're trying to keep in the 70 to 75, 80 mile an hour range. You get going over that, we lost it a couple times, so we decided to stay around 70, 75 and see if anybody would come with us.
Brother, you brought it home. You got the checkered flag to prove it. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Dan. Once again, great time down here in Key West.
And there you have it. Manufacturers won. Your winner, Intimidator.
We knew we were going to win. We went out there, we didn't beat up the equipment, and we had a great day.
Dominic, did you know you were going to win?
We know it. That water was beautiful. The boat ran beautiful. I'm happy today.
The winner in the Factory 2 class, Parts Unlimited Marine, and the Miccosukee Indian Gaming.
This 38 Fountain was really dialed in today. Key West water is great water for this boat. It runs in smooth water, it runs in chop, it runs in big swells out on the backside. We had it dialed in today.
Roger, with the shortened course, it made for more turns, so I know you guys were a lot busier today than usual.
Well, that's true. We really worked hard on trying to stay close to the buoys, trying to keep our speed up and not spin the boat out or whatever, and I think we took it right up to the limit without any accidents.
After 3 races, the Superboat high points Planet Man by 51 points over the nearest competitor, which is the Hydrogen Media Fountain. Popeye Fountain leads Super V high points after 3 races. Firewater and Fountain Mercury are the top 3. In stock, MFW Racing, Deep V Catamarans, and Barracuda. Well, it's been fun. Key West, of course, a big tourist attraction. We had a good time at the party after the race. We've had lots of excitement, lots of action. Now we go on a little bit up the coastline to
Deerfield Beach. Can't wait to go there. One of our favorite venues of the year.
And Key West is one of my favorite spots. We visit it twice a year. The regular race, of course, now, and then the World's coming up later on this season. Superboat International is produced by Diamond P Sports in association with Speed Vision. For Stan Lane, from Key West, Florida, I'm Jim Hendrick on Speed Vision. So long.